So with our lovely Sadie, our little Miss S, she again is a little boxer puppy. She has been struggling a little bit with some big emotions. And due to her exuberance, but also sometimes frustration, it's coming out with what folks would consider like reactivity. So we want to go ahead and help little Miss S start to hone in on other skill sets that we'd rather have her replace with some of those bigger emotions that she has at times. So for our gorgeous gal, just like we did a little bit with Mr. G, we're warming up with a couple little find its, getting her in the groove. So the benefit again of the find its is allows your puppy to kind of decompress in the environment, allows them to start moving around, but also notice how she starts to reorient back to me, which is what we're kind of looking for. So I know for our little Miss Lady, that's beautiful. Good job, cuteness. Is we're going to go ahead and capture any good behavior we'd like to have her think there's value in attempting. So right now, I did end up putting on a harness for her. I know she did come in on just the flat buckle collar, which is no big deal. But I know that a lot of times when she gets excited or a little overwhelmed, just like most pups, they start to blow through the gear and pull into the leash. So if, let's say, our little lady gets a little excited, if she goes to jump up, I'm just going to ignore. So I'm going to warm up a little bit with just some movement and see if I can feed every once in a while for this lovely loose leash walking. So for our little Miss S, the reason I switched her to the harness for right now is as she goes to sometimes pull or move into gear, I don't want it to be a lot of pressure on her trachea. So again, she can bum this one and use it in class, when she comes to school. So no worries if she doesn't have one right now. Yes. So she's also a little distracted. I have my 4-year-old daughter here, and she's just doing her own thing on the other side of the fencing. But Miss S sometimes gets a little unsure, a little distracted by her off in the distance. So what I'm doing is, when in doubt, keep your babe moving, but also make sure that you have a high rate of reinforcement to build up value in the things you'd rather have your beauties do. So if sometimes Miss S doesn't know what to do when she starts to feel big emotions or she starts to get a little bit lost, we want to, go back to skills that are very simple and attainable. So for a lot of the puppies, the find its are one of my favorite dance moves. You can, of course, do a bigger find it. So like, let's say she noticed my little one, got a little unsure, and then I maybe got her attention with the nose and then went into a bigger find it off to the side. Now I'm creating a bigger value in disengagement from the thing she might be having a harder time with. And this could be through also over exuberance. So it doesn't have to be, for example, where she gets overwhelmed. Yes, Hippo. Oh, sure, I'll come help you in 1 second. Can you give mommy just 1 moment? I'll be right there. So for our lovely Miss S, working with a couple of these lovely find its and then disengaging from the environment back to you is going to be really helpful. We are going to dive into, again, some pattern games. So whenever she goes to jump, again, that could be her having a little bit of a harder time. Remember, stress signals will come out in different ways with your beauties. So obviously there's difficulty in certain new situations. So anytime your puppy is, again, giving you a hard time, they're more than likely having a hard time. So always try to break it down into smaller little chunks so your beauties can be successful in the smaller little attempts as they're practicing. So for our lovely Miss S, I'm just working a little bit with some engagement with me compared to the environment. We are going to practice right here. Nice. My little positive interrupter is how I tend to get my babe's attention away from something else, but I make sure to practice that also before needing it. So a lot of times if we go right into working a skill the moment we needed it, the problem with that, so right here, let's say I want to get her attention. Yes. If I always did a certain skill or behavior while there was something hard or distracting nearby, what that can start to do is then the behavior I'm trying to get her to do instead might actually be the behavior that tends to signal to her, here comes that hard thing. So if, let's say, every time I did a U-turn, there was stranger danger or a novel distraction or animal or dog nearby, she would start to pair the U-turn with here comes the bad or the way too exciting. Nice. So we want to practice about 80 to 90% of our practice skills that we'd like to have into the future for later before we need them. So if the only time we work certain skills are in the moment, more than likely your babe is not going to catch on because they're typically over threshold or well past their comfort range. So we want to make sure that whenever we're working on any novel behavior or something we think the dog might have under their belt is to make sure to work most of it in very calm and relaxing type environments. Right there, I got her attention from my little. Great check-in, and we'll feed for that. So we're going to work a little bit with Miss S, working some of these pattern games in just a moment. I just need to go help my little, and then we'll come back to working with Miss S in just a few seconds. But she's really doing a splendid job. Oh, chewing. Here you go, cuteness. She's doing a really nice job with some of this engagement from the environment, while also working a little bit with her check-ins and some loose leash walking. So very nice. Good job, cuteness. So I'll give her a little breather, and then we'll work a few more skills in just a moment for little Miss S.